Hello and welcome. I'm back now with a much awaited video on how to get started. We've covered buying land, we've covered building infrastructure at the farm, and today we are going to talk about the next step. The next step at a farm, and the first and the most important thing as part of your design, is to do your water management. Now, when I say water management, I'm sure many of you are thinking about bore well, drip irrigation, sprinkler system, etc. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the water that's provided to us by nature, and that is rainwater. Rainwater, unfortunately, is hardly treated with much importance anymore. In a city, rains are associated with traffic jams, delays, getting stuck on the road. Not only that, we've paved all our surfaces, so rainwater has no place to seep in, and very quickly our roads get flooded, and sometimes we throw clean water after rainwater to clean up our balconies and our driveways. In a rural situation, like in a village, we now have bore wells, so most farmers who have bore wells again don't care for the rain. They feel that rains are things that they can't control, and therefore sometimes they get too much water or they get too little water. They would rather depend on a bore well, which can be at their beck and call. But in a permaculture farm, the most important part of your design is managing your rainwater. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing is to observe how rainwater falls on your land. You should be able to find out the data for your area and your location about all the rain that has fallen in the past decade or 2 decades, and also how much rain falls in one day on a very serious rainfall incident. Remember, we are planning not just for business as usual, we are planning also for a disaster situation. And with climate change, you can be more than sure that you're going to have situations of alternating floods and droughts. I would recommend a site called meteoblue.com, the details of which I'll leave in the description section here, which you can refer to and find out how much rainfall comes in your area every year. Like, for example, in our farm, we get 1000 millimeters of rain annually. In some situations, you might have rainfall water which is coming into your property but is not falling on your property. I have that situation too. The water is falling somewhere else, but due to the slopes flowing into our land, and I get much more volume of water than actually what my land would naturally get. So the ethical task for a permaculturist is to slow down this water, soak it in, and store it. How do you slow down this water? Well, you slow down this water by building something called swales, which are very similar to speed breakers on a road. Remember, if there's fast traffic, you build a little bump on the road so that cars slow down. In the case of rainwater coming down a hill, we build a swale, which is like a trench, the opposite of a speed breaker, in which the water kind of fills up and slows down dramatically. A series of such swales help the water to slow down considerably, and water which would have moved from point A to point B within hours or minutes might now take days or months. Not only that, this water will now flow downhill through the soil instead of from above the soil, thereby not doing any erosion, not taking precious topsoil with it, and being absolutely clean by the time it reaches your reservoir. If you have a river kind of a stormwater flow coming into your property like we did, then your task is really to define it and to give it a specific area to move within, so that it doesn't flood up your farm at large and destroy some of your edible gardens. To do that, you can build channels, and I would recommend that you build channels in a sort of meandering manner so that the water again slows down, doesn't go from point A to point B very fast. You can also line up these channels with plants which are water loving, like bamboo or dates, or even grasses like vetiver, because these will hold the soil in place and prevent the water from eroding the edges of these channels. That's exactly what we did with almost 70 million liters of water which comes into our property from the hills above. Now, when you get so much rain and if your land has slopes, then the last thing you want to do is build some reservoirs for this water. We were lucky to have a natural pond adjoining our property, which is actually a village pond. But even that village pond used to overflow and a lot of water used to leave our property, and that was something we were not happy with at all. And so we built two more ponds, one upstream of and one downstream, and made sure that all the water which comes in does not leave our property. In fact, today we are the only people who go outside our property and take in the water flowing down on the road, because we don't like to see any water just flow away. Now, when you do this, water will still flow, but now it is going to flow under the ground instead of above the ground. That's great, because you won't have to irrigate your property anymore. You won't have to do irrigation, at least for your big trees and for your forest. You may still need to irrigate small plants, like vegetables or crops, but you won't be required to irrigate the large ecosystem that you're building. Now, do not build ponds if your land is flat, because you won't have any natural flow of water which is coming into this reservoir, and you might feel disappointed or might be tempted into filling it up artificially, and that will be a very, very unethical thing to do. Remember, the water in the borewell doesn't belong to us. Somehow, humans have found a way of putting a straw into that borewell and sucking that water out, but that's really not ours to take. So we have to have very low dependence on borewell water and very high dependence on rainwater, because that's the water that was actually created for our usage and for our consumption. Many people ask me, what should we do if we have a flat piece of land? That's a very good question, because unfortunately, almost all our farmlands have been flattened beyond recognition. All the natural slopes have been cut with the help of earth-moving machines and flattened for the purposes of agriculture and paddy farming. Now, if you have a flat piece of land on which rain is falling, you should build a trench or a swale or a main or a bandh, whatever it may be called in your local area, on the periphery of your land, so that all the water that falls on your land actually goes off into this trench on the sides and helps to get soaked into your land itself. And if you still have your swales or your trenches overflowing with water, you should probably crisscross your land with many more such trenches in smaller areas, so that more and more of your water is getting stored and slowed down on your property itself. Often we buy a piece of land and start dreaming about where we will build our house. Well, you know what? You should hold on to that dream till you finish seeing the flow of water on your land, because the most important thing is to manage the water. Once you've done the water management and you know where the water will come from, where will it flow, you can then safely plan the rest of your farm around that, and I'll talk more about that in the subsequent videos. But for now, you should take a piece of paper like this, sketch out your land. You should identify the places from which water is entering your property, like I've done that here. One culvert is coming in from here, and then how you're going to manage the flow of the water, where is the pond going to be, how the water will flow from there to the next pond. This will be the second pond. There's a gabion structure I've built here because of a broken weir, and then finally the last pond. So this is the way you would probably sketch out your property, try to understand the flow of water, and then build infrastructure accordingly. So that's it from me on water management today. The clips that you've seen in this video have been taken over the years, but together I hope that they've given you a good sense of how water flows through a property and can be managed. I'll leave you with reiterating the 3 important things you should do with rainwater on your land. Slow it down, soak it in, and store it. Remember, rainwater is a very, very precious resource. Now also remember, the best place to store your water is in the ground, because if there's always water in your soil, you will not need to irrigate it. So if you have any questions around this, please leave them in the comments box. I'll be happy to take them on in another video and address all your queries and your concerns. But water management is very important. If you want to start plantations in July, then you should be thinking about water management in the months of Jan and Feb, and finish all your infrastructure planning way before you get down to doing your plantation. So good luck with that, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.